is a system of government where one person, example king or queen, holds supreme authority. The ruler has complete control over laws, government, and justice. The power is often believed to be granted by God, making the monarch answerable only to God, not to the people or laws. For history background, I divide by the 6. So for the first historical background is ancient civilization in Egypt and Mesopotamia were seen as divine or semi-divine, holding absolute power. They ruled as both political leaders and religious figures. For the second historical background is ancient Rome. Roman emperors, especially in years later, held absolute power over lawmaking, enforcement, and justice. Third is Middle Age. Feudalism limited monarch power, as nobles and the church controlled land and army. Kings shared authority with the noble and were influenced by the church. For the fourth historical background is rise of divine right. In the late of Middle Age, the belief in the divine right of kings emerged, claiming monarchs were chosen by the god. This belief weakened noble and church influence, strengthening the monarch authority. For example, in the 16th to 18th century, absolute monarchy gained prominence and feudalism declined. Economic growth and military advancement further consolidated royal power. For modern example, countries with absolute monarchy today include Brunei, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and United Emirates.
Characteristics help us to differentiate the system of absolute monarchy with other systems. The first characteristic of absolute monarchy is centralized power. When we talk about centralized power, this means only one individual in the state holds all the power. The king or queen has total authority in every aspect of governance and is not subject to any limitations of their authority. Monarchs can make decisions regarding international affairs, military, economy, and laws without consulting the people, council, or the parliament. So basically, the king's word is the law. For example, King Louis XIV of France highlighted his total control over the government with his famous declaration, "I am the state." He also made decisions without consulting with the parliament, advisors, or nobility. The second characteristic of absolute monarchy is divine right. So according to the theory of divine right, the king is only answerable to God and not to any earthly powers, as the God granted him the right to rule. This made the monarch untouchable because criticizing him will be seen as questioning the God's will. For example, King James I of England was a prominent supporter of king's divine prerogative. He wrote the True Law of Free Monarchies in 1598, in which he proclaimed that kings are exempt from earthly law nor popular will because they receive their power directly from the God. This gives them the power to do anything they like.
Now I want to talk about challenge faced by absolute monarchy. There are 2 challenge faced by absolute monarchy. The first point is social dissatisfaction, also known as social unrest, is the one of the main challenge faced by absolute monarchy. This can include things like civil disorder, mass civil disobedience, and strike. Absolute monarchs often use their power without thinking about the economic and social needs of their people, which is it can lead to rebellions or revolts. And on top of that, the second point is economic strains. Absolute monarchies often impose heavy taxes to fund wars and unnecessary expenses. This led to financial problem, economic strain, and sometimes even the collapse of trades and industry. Corruption and inefficiency were also major factors in this. Now I want to talk about the example challenge faced by absolute monarchy. Let's look for social dissatisfaction example. In Eswatini, the last absolute monarchy in Africa, people have become more unhappy and have been asking for democratic change. Things got worse when a 25-year-old law student was killed by police. To control the situation, King Mesawati III banned social media to stop people from speaking out. These protests show how unhappy the people are with the absolute monarchy. For the second example for economic strain, let's look at the Russia before the Soviet Union. Tsar Nicholas II, the absolute monarch, often picked loyal supporters instead of leaders based on their abilities. This caused a lot of unhappiness, which was made worse by World War One and serious food shortage. The royal family spent a lot of money during this hard time, which angered the people, especially when they were struggling. And after that, this caused corruption, inefficiency, and high tax, which made life harder for citizens. So this is all from me. Let's continue for the next point.
There are some countries that are still practicing absolute monarchy. The first example is Brunei. In the history of Brunei, there are two political parties rising after World War II. The first one is the monarchy of Sultan Omar Abdul Saifuddin III. The second one is Parti Rakyat Brunei, or PRB, under the leader A.M. Zahari. The Sultan Party then wins majority support against PRB. Next, Sultan functions are as the head of state and the head of government. Sultan is assisted by Council of State, Council of Ministers, and Privy Council. Sultan also holds important ministries such as Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Ministry of Defense. There was a democratic resistance since 1962. PKDB or Parti Demokratik Kebangsaan Brunei under Haji Abdul Latif Cucu that adapts idea of Islam and liberal nationalism. Sultan then limits the influence of PKDB and citizens were also uninterested by the idea brought by PKDB. After the independence of Brunei, ideology of Melayu Islam Beraja or MIB was adapted that guaranteed Sultan's political legitimacy, highlights Islam as national religion and right of Malay community, also monarchy as governing system in Brunei. Next, Saudi Arabia. In 1744, there was Royal House of Saud with the alliance of Muhammad bin Saud and Muhammad ibn al-Wahhab. It was the strategic pairing in Riyadh laid the foundation for the first Saudi state. However, the Ottoman Empire took control over the region, leading to power struggles. In 92, the Saudi family regained control of Riyadh and, with the help of a tribal army based on Wahhabi principles, expanded their influence. By 1932, the various Saudi territories were unified under a single kingdom, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The current King Salman Abdul Aziz Al Saud holds supreme legislative, executive, and judicial power. King Salman is also the head of state, prime minister, and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He appoints the crown prince to serve as deputy prime minister. There are several bodies to assist the king, including the Council of Ministers and the Consultative Council. The judicial system in Saudi Arabia is based on Islamic law, or also known as Sharia law, and the king acts as the final court of appeal and source of verdict.
Hi, I would like to explain about the advantages of absolute monarchy. There are two advantages that I would like to explain. The first advantage is make decision quickly. The king has power over both his subject and other people. When making decision, they don't listen to advisor. Indeed, they will have people that help them ultimately, but in the end, it is up to them. This kind of state is preferred by some people because they believe it could lessen arguments about what is right and wrong. Decisions are made quickly under the style of leadership and do not take years to complete. Too many of us participating in a decision making process prevents progress because there will inevitably be arguments about terms. For example, during a crisis such as a war of natural disaster, an absolute monarchy can immediately enact policies, mobilize resources, and provide leadership without waiting for long debates or approval. For the second, the advantages is easier to make rules. In an absolute monarchy, the decision-making authority rests with just one person. When laws need to be made to help the people, an absolute ruler may order this one to be made. Essentially, this will increase their gratitude for having their needs met as quickly as possible. It also makes preparation and reaching long-term goals possible. The monarchy rules for a lifetime. They make arrangements out of necessity in the long term. This can also be advantageous to the state because it won't be automatically abandoned. Unlike in the event that a new administration decides not to support the initiative because it doesn't align with their goals. In democratic system, law must often be debated, amended, and voted on by elected representatives. This process can be slow and divisive, especially when there are multiple political parties with differing interests. In an absolute monarchy, the monarch doesn't need to consult with the legislature, hold hearings, or engage in intensive debates.
Let's talk about disadvantages of monarchy, which is inequality and social justice issue. Inequality and social justice issue refer to unequal opportunity and right among different groups in society, often based on factors such as race, gender, economic status, or education. These issues create barriers that prevent individuals from fully participating in economic, social, and political life, resulting in systemic disadvantages for certain groups. For example, income inequality is a widespread issue where wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, leaving large portion of the population struggling to meet basic needs. This can lead for potential for abuse of power is referred to the risk that individuals in position of authority may exploit their power for personal gain, to oppress others, or to bypass rules and ethical standards. This often occurs in systems where checks and balance are weak or absent, allowing leaders to act without accountability. Abuse of power can lead to corruption, injustice, and social unrest, eroding trust in institutions and harming the overall well-being of a society. For example, in authoritarian government, leaders may suppress free speech, control the media, and manipulate the election to remain in power.
So for the conclusion is, absolute monarchy has a system where one ruler has total power over the government, control over the military economy, and law book stability, but often suppresses the representation. Furthermore, the rise of democracy and parliamentary system eventually challenged absolute monarchy, decline over time, leading to constitutional monarchy and republic. And also, it played a key role in shaping modern government and political structure.